Good morning, everyone. I am Jason Schwartz. It's the Neutral Zone. It's Monday, and we have a great guest today, so hang in.
Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste. I've been around for a long, long year. So many men sold away. And I was around when Jesus Christ had his moment of doubt and faith. Made damn sure that Pilate washed his hands and sealed his fate. Pleased to meet you. Hope you get my name. But what puzzling you is the nature of my game.
Good morning, everyone. It is September 16th, 2019. I'm amazed when I say that. We're very hot today, okay? I have a guest with me today. Last week we had the film commissioner, so I thought I'd take a swing and we'd go into a subject that is amazing to me. Kalon Prensky, who's my guest today. Well, first of all, welcome to our show, Kalon.
Thanks, Jason. It's great to be here.
He will explain who he and what he is in a little bit. This is like What's My Line? But he has been working with cold lasers. And in the past, we had someone on that was talking that he didn't like this other guest they had on TV years ago that was talking about scalar waves and lasers. But Kalon is an expert, I'd like to say that. He has written a couple of books about lasers. He'll tell us about that. And he has been practicing. He has been selling lasers of all kinds and other things for 15 years and more. He's a Maui guy for, 20 years, 25 years?
It's 85.
85. So I got here in 88, so there you go. Like me, a long-time Mauian. You lived in Walo when I lived in Walo, and I kept passing your house and didn't even know it was your house.
Yeah.
Kalon, I'm going to let you sort of explain to the people, if you'd be so kind, a little bit about who you are, and also about what triggered you to get involved in this, okay?
Okay, well...
get a little bit closer if you can.
Sure.
Go ahead.
My name, again, is Kalon Prensky. I'm the creator of a website, Discover Lasers.
Get a little closer. I don't want to get it. That's good.
I've been sharing cold lasers with people for 15 years. I got into it because they changed my life. They healed me when nobody else could heal me. I was seeing all kinds of practitioners and therapists.
You had a health challenge.
I had actually been rear-ended in an automobile and got whiplash, and I was had my shoulders up around my neck. I couldn't turn my head without turning my whole body. And for a year, I was trying every kind of therapy out there to get better, and nothing was working. And this was the year 2002, the first year that cold lasers received clearance by the FDA.
I see.
At the time, I had never heard of them, but this practitioner said, "Hey, I've got this new thing. Maybe you want to try it?" I said, "Sure." And after one treatment, I felt a difference. After two treatments, I was like, whoa, more range of motion, less pain. What is this? I got to come back, get another treatment. After 3 treatments, I was sold. I was like, oh my God, this could change my life. I want to have a treatment every single day. So I went out and got myself a laser and started using it every day.
Well, I'm going to stop right there because we have a good question immediately. When I was a kid and I watched Star Trek and all the advanced science things, they used lasers and they were powerful and they put holes in things and knocked people down. And that's laser to me. But this is different, isn't it?
Cold lasers and hot lasers, two completely different creatures. Cold lasers will never cut, burn, heat tissue. They biostimulate.
Just so you know, when you're closer, your voice comes out better on the radio. Otherwise, you sound echoey. That was all. There you go.
I understand.
Okay.
So cold lasers will never harm a cell. They'll never heat or burn or vaporize tissue, whereas hot lasers can heat tissues, they can vaporize things. There's different kinds of hot lasers. We don't deal with the hot lasers. We deal with the cold lasers that biostimulate to energize. And what's so significant about cold lasers? Let me tell you, it's the fact that they have a strong anti-inflammatory effect, deactivating 7 of the 9 enzymes that cause inflammation up to 70%.
Wow.
2, they send energy directly to the cells in the form of photons. Those photons are absorbed by the mitochondria inside the cell and instantly converted into adenosine triphosphate, or ATP for short. That's the primary fuel source of almost every cell in your body. So any cell, it doesn't discriminate. It doesn't matter if it's a brain cell, a skin cell, a muscle cell, or a bone cell. All cells can benefit from cold laser because it depends on the wavelength, but if the laser is calibrated correctly and you have the right wavelength and the density, you can reach the target tissue that you're trying to treat and benefit, and those cells and tissues can start to heal and regenerate.
And it's safe.
It's extremely safe.
And it's been safe and approved by FDA since 2002.
That's right.
And I'm sure we're going to get into it because not all lasers are created equal.
Indeed.
Well, those of you that are on television may have an opportunity as watching this after the fact. Remember, we're on radio, but we're also we're on Facebook Live, and we are on Maui, neutralzone.com the next day and ever, and we're on YouTube, and also KAKU has things up at the station's website and their Facebook page. Now, if you're watching, you're seeing this guy putting it looks like a incredible cover of magenta on his face. And so what are you doing now with that? You put laser light, which is light of a certain frequency. So when I think of light, I think of sound. They go together in my mind because of the fact that it's a frequency.
Well, in fact, everything in the universe is energy.
Right.
And everything vibrates at a different frequency.
I see.
And so different light laser frequencies can penetrate at different depths.
So everything has frequency. Right. Whether we're thinking we're using it as a laser, but this desk has a frequency, our skin, our heart, everything inside, different diseases and viruses, and I'm just making it up, or inflammation. So when you were talking just now about the fact that this photon light can go into the mitochondria of a cell, that's the little factory in our cells, and that you call ADP, which you ATP, which is one of the basic building blocks and fuel sources of our body. So this isn't new to me, but that's only because I live in Walo and I've been in with people all these years using lasers. But I've seen a friend who's been a chiropractor for 45 years, maybe 20 years ago, and getting old now. Maybe it was 15, 18. He started using it for himself in his practice, and now he works with dogs and horses, and the perfect client that, you can actually see results. There's lots of tests and studies on this, isn't there?
There's over 4,000 different scientific studies and research documents on the subject of cold laser therapy. It was originated 50 years ago. Albert Einstein played a role in creating one of the first lasers that was made with a ruby. And now, there's over 50 lasers that have been cleared by the FDA for use on human beings, and this particular laser, called a scalar wave laser, is FDA cleared OTC, or over the counter. Anybody can buy it without a license or prescription. It's so safe you don't even need to wear those protective eyeglasses that most of the cold lasers require you to wear.
I see. So hot or cold lasers they still have a thing about your eyes. You don't want to be... You
never want to shine a laser into an open eye for any extended period of time.
Hot or cold.
It's sort of like the sun. You don't want to stare into the sun, but if you blink your eyes, then you don't have that continuous input, and then it doesn't risk causing damage to your retina.
I see.
That's how lasers are classified. Class 1, 2, 3, or 4. The higher the number, the higher of risk to the eye. This is considered similar to a Class 1, even though it's confusing. It's 3R, but it's the same as a Class 1 insignificant risk device.
I see. Now, I'm looking at this device here in front of you. The people on radio don't get an advantage. It really looks like it's from Star Trek. What am I looking at there?
So what we have is a cluster here of 36 diodes, 8 red lasers, 8 infrared lasers, and 20 violet LEDs, 3 different wavelengths, and a host of different frequencies, 11 different frequency settings. And what's significant the red lasers are great for anything to do with soft tissue. Red lasers penetrate up to half an inch into the body. They're the strongest anti-inflammatory wavelength, and they're good for pain, they're good for arthritis, they're good for any healing skin and wounds sort of things, and burns heal up in like 100 to 200% faster. They're antibacterial, antiviral, antiherpetic.
Do you have to be in constant? I mean, is it like treatments like one would get a half hour or an hour? Or
Typically, anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour treatment, depending on the power and the issues that the person is having. We do actually offer treatments here in Kihei, Maui, Kihei. If people are ever interested in treatments, my partner is a therapist and
I see.
practitioner who's been helping a lot of people with these things. I basically just make these available to the public on my website at discoverlasers.com.
Yes, your website is just fascinating. It's just a wealth of information.
Yeah.
And you've written a couple of books. What are the titles? And give me a little information.
Right. No, that's a good question. Cold laser therapy, over 250 protocols made easy. It's the 22 acupoint healing system based on acupuncture. All of the acupuncture points, there are about 360 of them and 14 meridians, and there's also microsystems, the ears, the hands, and the feet. And there's like hundreds of acupoints in all of these different microsystems that can easily be treated with the laser. With a needle, there's puncture, there's possibility for pain, and also people don't know what the heck they're doing. Obviously, they don't want to deal with those things, but with a laser, you can simply take a probe like this, which plugs into the main laser, and then we can actually place it directly on an acupuncture point or an auricular point. Working in the ears is called auricular therapy. There's over 100 acupuncture points in the ear that correspond with everything from sleep or depression or endorphin hormone balance. You can access the whole spine.
So is this technology, like I'm saying, if you're studying acupuncture, you're already light years ahead. So an acupuncturist might have this at their office to supplement their treatment, yes?
Many acupuncturists are starting to utilize cold lasers. As a matter of fact, the reason I wrote my book was 15 years ago. I met this old acupuncturist who had been practicing for 30 years. He told me he'd given up needles entirely, went specifically with cold lasers because he said anything that you can do with a needle, you can do with a laser. A good, decent laser like these, only much faster, much easier, completely painless. So he went on, he was in Canada, and he went on to become one of the highest paid trainers in utilizing cold lasers. And he would train the doctors and the chiropractors, people who wanted to concentrate on unusual things like smoking cessation and weight loss and fertility. So there's so many things
with high-end clients who have desire to. I got it. That's very interesting.
So it's just an incredibly wide range of things that you can do. That's my book, over 250 protocols, and my other book with an additional 250 protocols.
Protocol means different settings of lasers?
So protocol is basically an idea. You can get, there's some pictures that shows you where the different points are. You treat the points, kind of like connect the dots. You treat
protocols
the
for
different
different conditions?
So yeah, for over 250, actually 500 different symptoms and conditions. You can look them up in alphabetical order. You'll see the most important points for those conditions, and then you simply treat them with the laser for about a minute to 2 minutes each point.
And the laser that you choose, my lady friend Arielle has had a laser for more than a decade, and she needs you to look at it, by the way. Your setting. So you have a protocol. Now, in this, you mentioned there were 11 or so
There's
presets.
11 frequency settings. Now, because of FDA regulation, the manufacturers have to be real careful about, the words that they use to define a different settings and things like that. So it's kind of simplified, but unwind, for example, is the default setting, because in life, almost all disease, about 85% of all diseases are caused from stress. And what does stress cause? It causes contraction. It causes contraction of the cells, of the tissues, of the flow of energy. And so what we want to do with the laser on the unwind setting is unwind that contraction and restore the cells and tissues to a state of neutrality. Once in that neutral state, they're more receptive to receive the energy and information. The blood and energy flows more freely through the body, and the healing can start to take place with the extra energy and the reduction of inflammation.
That really is a healing technique. I mean, there are a lot of things out there that mask it or deal with little symptoms. This really is healing. Gets right to the root of the cause.
It starts healing the body on a cellular level, right at the root cause. Instead of masking the symptoms, you don't have to, there was a study with General Motors, and I found this study about 15 years ago after I healed my neck. By the way, I had a degenerative disc in my neck. That's what the x-rays showed when I went to see the chiropractor after being rear-ended.
Right.
And so the degenerative disc, I was pretty scared. I thought, oh my God, I'm going to be, paralyzed or quadriplegic or something. But as it turned out, with the laser, I was able to heal that degenerative disc. And I also had, when I was 17, back in the mid-'80s, I shattered my right wrist in a skateboarding accident. I had 4 pins drilled into my hand and wrist and a titanium brace holding it together. And when they removed the pins, I got a staph infection from breaking. The doctor broke the bone in the metacarpal. It was a mess. So I spent, a good few decades with arthritis and carpal tunnel syndrome, and hardly couldn't even make a fist or no grip strength. And I'm thinking to myself, now I've got this laser, I've healed my neck, what else can it do? And I found this GM study where they were doing carpal tunnel treatment with cold laser, and all these people who were on the assembly lines and getting carpal tunnel, they didn't have to get the operations. They could just get a laser treatment. I thought, I found the protocol, I started doing it on myself, and 1 week, carpal tunnel was gone. I kid you not. And I'm thinking, okay, so now I'll work on the arthritis. And with each month that went by, it was like 30% reduction. So after 3 months, it was 90% gone. I was so excited. I had full grip strength, no more pain, and I had a piece of property out in Huelo where I wanted to build a house. That was kind of like my childhood dream. So I was able to spend the next 3 years building this wonderful house overlooking the ocean. And I was able to use a hammer and power tools because I could. And anytime I injured myself, I just grabbed my laser and fix myself up again.
Wow.
It's an incredible self-help tool.
And I'm only guessing, what were you doing before this? You were also somehow in the equipment.
In 1990, I started my first business, Pacific Coast Health Associates, marketing to chiropractors and massage therapists, all kinds of massage therapy tables and spa tables.
So what a fantastic
acupuncture devices.
Extension of all that.
So I had a lot of knowledge already about this kind of general health subject. I became a massage therapist literally when I was a teenager. That was when I got my first automobile accident, and so it's been an interesting journey for sure.
So I imagine as you shared it with some of your already existing clients and showed them your results, they were suddenly joining the bandwagon. Well, what do lasers cost these days? And how does one choose a laser? I mean, I know you go into it in great length. Give people a little idea, just to kind of give us a range of understanding.
Yeah, these days. There's a lot of lasers to choose from, but they're definitely not all created equal. This particular laser, we've got 6 different packages, but they start right around $2,500. We do offer Ina discounts, so don't be afraid to ask if you decide to give me a call. And feel free to give me a call. I have a toll-free number and a local number.
You're welcome to give it out if you want.
Yeah, free consultation. If you want to give me a call, it's 808-870-0348, or toll free 800-575-7963, and visit my website for further education, all kinds of clinical studies and really interesting articles, and a blog at Discover Lasers, LASERS.com.
You know, when I was growing up, I always was thinking laser with a Z or laser with an S.
It's laser with an S.
Laser with an S. So I have seen tremendous results that have happened through this other chiropractor I was mentioning, to where when I did a television show with him and showed off the laser, and he hooked up with some horse people here on Maui. Now he comes every quarter of the year and is treating horses. But people can get this for themselves. They can treat their animals. I mean, it must be a really wonderful thing. Can people easily measure, or how does someone gauge their progress? I guess with convention.
Excellent question. You know, for decades in the United States, cold lasers were being used primarily on horse ranches and for show horses and race horses, because it actually increases performance and increases recovery. Even horses that were being put out to pasture were being brought back and rehabilitated with these cold lasers.
Wow.
Yeah, so they're pretty big in the veterinary field, and also people who just want to help their dog or their cat or their horse at home can get these lasers because they're FDA cleared for human use. You can use them on the whole family and the animals.
You know, when my friend Fred, I'm sure you're going to tell me. So there are different kinds of lasers. So this laser, how does one do it? Have one with different, I see they have 3 different heads here. What is all that?
Right. So what we have here is we've got 2 different kinds of lasers. These are called the main units. This is the scalar wave laser, which comes in a silver or pink violet body. And this is a white one, which is called the Lotus laser. And inside, it's all violet lasers. So while this one has red and infrared with violet LEDs, this one is an all-violet laser. And violet is the wavelength considered the premier anti-aging technology. It works on quantum levels. It's nonlinear. It's great for the brain. It's great for the stem cells. It's great for helping to clear emotions and clear emotional baggage without a bunch of processing. It helps to activate special enzymes in the body, like the telomerase enzyme, which helps to support the length of the telomeres, which are the end caps there, which as they unravel and shorten, we age faster. So anything that helps to lengthen telomeres is good in my book. Also fantastic for the skin and anti-aging.
So would you use 2 lasers at once?
Either one of... I like to. If you can afford 2 lasers, you definitely...
So you buy
benefit.
One or another, in other words.
Yeah. So we have packages with 2 and 3 and all probes, or just one probe, or just a main unit by itself.
I see.
And so when you plug a probe, either an infrared or red or a violet probe, into one of these units, then it allows you to transfer the energy and the frequency from the main unit into the probe, because the probes don't have any power by themselves. This is the infrared probe, which is my favorite one because it's the deepest penetrating and the best for musculoskeletal and spinal issues. And they're all great for acupuncture. This one, as you can see, has a violet hue because there's 4 violet LEDs in addition to the 100 milliwatt violet laser. So they're more powerful, more concentrated lasers in these probes. This is the red. You can see how bright that is. You can see it literally, lights up the ear. So
the other thing you showed in the big unit was a cluster effect laser.
That's
where
right.
This is pinpoint. So different kinds of treatments.
So these are great for working on acupuncture points and trigger points. So if someone has a frozen shoulder, for example, you can palpate the shoulder, find the 5 or 6 points of greatest pain and discomfort, and then treat each point for about 2 minutes.
I see.
You can also do a little bit of range of motion while you're doing that to get deeper penetration. This is the violet one. Like I said, I often joke around, this is my digital smudge stick, like instead of sage, because you can literally clear the aura and cut cords. And, excuse me, that's, that was this one turning off. It makes that sound, which you can turn on or off as you choose. So I like to, trace meridians with this. Also great for lines and wrinkles and tightening and firming tone and of the skin, increasing collagen in the skin.
So the articles that support this, I mean,
rebuilding
these kind of claims almost sound, when we're sitting here, we're watching television shows, and you see they just killed this person, and now, or they have been maimed, and they're using all these things. I'm sure what we're looking at is lasers and projected into the future for, I don't know if it's probably already, God knows what's already here and what we don't know about, but healing, we're all talking about the same thing. It's fantastic.
I often feel like Dr. Spock when I'm using my lasers, running them around the.
But I know that people hearing what you just said have to think to themselves, wow, I want to find out more about this. I'm going to jump here for our sponsors and supporters and then come back and we'll take a look at, some of the other stuff. We have a little more while to go. I'm with Kalon Prensky. Kalon is an expert on cold lasers and all kinds of stuff. Please hang on. We'll be right back. The Neutral Zone with me, Jason Schwartz, would like to sincerely thank David Bryan for his support. David was founder and head of school at New Road School in Santa Monica, California, and is the board chair at the Ojai Foundation and on the board for Brave New Films. The Neutral Zone is heard live Mondays at 11 a.m. here on KAKU 88.5 FM, the voice of Maui, and again on Saturdays at 7 a.m., as well as on TV and on MauiNeutralZone.com.
Get a jump on protecting Maui's coral reefs. No need to wait for Hawaii's new sunscreen law to go in effect. This is Archie Kalepa asking you to make the switch today to sunscreens that do not contain reef-harming oxybenzone or octanoxate. Find out about better choices at mauireefs.org/sunscreen. Sponsored with Aloha by Maui Nui Marine Resource Council, Maui Visitors Bureau, and the County of Maui Office of Economic Development.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable, but how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Hi, this is Steve Summers. Join me Sunday mornings from 1 to 2 a.m. with a replay Sunday mornings from 10 till 11 for the Oldies Time Machine. It's familiar oldies from the 50s, 60s, and 70s, plus some of those rare tracks you won't hear on any other radio program. Right here on KAKU 88.5, the voice of Maui.
Hi, I'm Jason Schwartz, host of The Neutral Zone. KAKU is a listener-supported station. This means that all of the great programs you hear, like mine, are sponsored by you as well as our underwriters. If you would like to help keep the voice of Maui talking loud and clear, go to kakufm.org/donate today and give. And don't miss The Neutral Zone Mondays at 11 a.m. on 88.5 FM, the voice of Maui. Aloha, this is Jason Schwartz at The Neutral Zone, back with our wonderful guest, Kalon Prensky. What's the name of your company? I keep thinking discoverlasers.com, which is good to remember. But what's the name of your company?
Discover Lasers LLC.
Well, that's a perfect match then. Okay. You've been doing this a long time, and when I went to your website, I thought, I should start with what does it do? And there are studies and medical journals. I'm going to read a list so that our audience can get sort of an overall, more detailed list. And then I'm going to pick and say, okay, what about the knee? What about this? And I'm going to let you point out different things. Does that seem reasonable? Mm-hmm. Hope I'm not doing too much for you, but I know that if I'm going to ask anyone, you're the guy to ask. So, imagine this is analgesic, meaning pain relieving benefits, anti-inflammatory, activation of protein synthesis, stimulation of healing internally and externally, tissue regeneration, shortened wound healing periods, antispasmodic, immune modulator, antihistaminic. What that means, antihistamine. Anti-infection, energy, improvement of blood circulation, tissue resistance to oxygen deprivation. Oh, this is great. Muscular efficiency. These are all the things you're talking to, huh? So all these things, and there's a list that goes on and keeps going. Production of collagen and elastin, granulation of wounds, collagen synthesis, enzyme synthesis, lipid peroxidation, activation of prostate gland. Well, it is a major thing. And
that's right.
We kind of understand that because this is light and it's being matched up. This is Albert Einstein, but he wasn't an inventor, was he? Or did that happen across his path?
Oh, well, he played a role in creating the first laser, but he didn't actually create the first one.
I see. But he was out there. When everyone says Albert Einstein, there are some inventors that we know, some by name, some we don't even know, that have invented so many things, and his name comes up from time to time,
right,
of just being...
So you mentioned knees. I have a lot of clients who get this laser to treat their knees.
Oh, yeah?
As people age, and if they're in sports and things like that, or the cartilage in the knees that starts to break down, and people experience a lot of knee pain and swelling and inflammation. And the laser is just fantastic for helping to reduce the inflammation and also stimulate the natural growth of cartilage in the knees and other joints to support pain relief and healing.
That's a wonderful thing for people to hear. That's regeneration of cartilage.
Yep.
When your body is free of some of these issues, it has a lot more power to do healing than we give it credit for.
That's right.
Fantastic.
You mentioned antihistamine. Many years ago when my son was young, he would wake up in the middle of the night crying. And I would go to attend with him, and he was having a hard time breathing. He had some kind of, asthma breathing issue, and I would treat with my fingers his lung points. But it would take about an hour, and then finally he would relax and go to sleep. One day I thought, I've got this laser. I should try it on him. And I put it just on unwind and put it on his chest. And I kid you not, within 60 seconds, he had fallen asleep. You could literally instantly hear his breathing return to normal, and he was gone.
Fantastic.
And so I thought, that was great. Now I can go back to sleep. The next time it happened, I reached for the laser. I used it on him. Same thing. Within 60 seconds, that's how fast the anti-inflammatory. I have a 96-year-old gentleman who loves my lasers, and he will shout from the rooftops, "Everybody, you got to," And he was telling me how he was treating a friend of his COPD. He had one of these oxygen concentrators, and he had come to visit, and the battery had died on the oxygen concentrator. So he put the laser on his chest on a vital setting, which has the ozone frequency in it, which increases the oxygen potential in the cells. And kid you not, his oxygen level increased. He had a little meter so he could test it. And for an hour while the battery was charging, he used the laser to regulate his breathing and his oxygen content.
Great.
So many different possibilities with these lasers. For me, I had a bulging disc in the lower back, and I was able to use the infrared probe to get rid of the contraction and allow the healing to take place and the pain to go away.
That's fantastic.
We have a very popular protocol called the unwinding protocol, which is for the nervous system. A lot of people that experience anxiety or nervous issues. And adrenal issues. Adrenal issues are huge in our society because our society prides people who are go, do, get things done, but we push ourselves too much, drink too much coffee and caffeine, and party too much. And how do we recover from that? Well, the laser, this unwinding protocol, we laser the adrenals with the main unit, 4 minutes each, the sacrum and the occipital ridge, which is in the back of the neck, which ties in with the vagus nerve, which controls the autonomic nervous system. And then the center of the chest is the thymus gland, which is the anti-aging and immune-boosting gland. All treating each of these points for 4 minutes each is about 25 minutes. And it just totally relaxes and unwinds the whole nervous system and leaves you, and it helps take you out of that sympathetic nervous system dominant state, which is the go, 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 do state. And it drops you down into the parasympathetic rest and digest state, which is the natural healing state. It also helps people who have sleep issues to unwind and relax and go to sleep. I like to use the unwinding protocol in the evening. For example, you can take your laser to bed, do the unwinding protocol, and then after that, there's a 20-minute protocol called the blood cleanse protocol. It's just a single point. You can set the laser for 20 minutes, place it on your lower dantian over this artery, and all the blood in your body passes through it every 20 minutes. So you put it on a frequency like pleo, which is short for pleomorphic. That's a blood cleansing frequency, or vital, which has the ozone oxygen frequency in it. And then in a 20-minute period of time, all the blood in the body has been irradiated with the laser, oxygenated, energized, and then returns to the bloodstream, the river of life, and feeds all the systems of the body. You can do a deep reset by doing that like every night for 30 days.
Wow. So it's not a replacement for dialysis, but might slow the processes that are creating all these problems in your system. That seems like now that we know what's their expression, once you break a mirror, once you open a door, you can't close it. This is very exciting. I imagine
now,
some
a lot of people are wondering, is this laser difficult to use? Is it safe? And it's extremely safe, and it's very easy to use. I've written a book right here called The Advanced Protocols User Guide for the Scalar Wave Laser.
Yes.
And this, about 50 pages of detailed information, just walks the average person step by step through how to use it. Within an hour or two, anybody can be up and running proficiently with this laser. Even children and the elderly have no problem becoming proficient with it.
Is a laser something, does it have things that burn out, or how does one maintain this equipment?
Well, there's really almost nothing that has to be maintained. You don't want to be dropping it very often.
No, I can't imagine.
I have dropped
Take your cell phone, throw it in the air, and see how it goes.
I take it to bed all the time, and sometimes it falls out of bed and hits the floor, but so far it's still going strong.
But
it comes with a manufacturer warranty for a year. They are made in the United States, these particular lasers in Vermont. And if you ever need servicing, you just send it to the factory, and they'll service it and send it back to you. Typically, under warranty for a year, it doesn't cost you anything if you ever had a problem. Anything after that, we expect them to last about 10 years on average. And within that time, if you do need servicing, it's about $200 to fix just about anything. Which is
see. That's modest.
Reasonable.
Especially, you have a fine piece of equipment. You want to give it to someone who knows what they're doing.
That's right. Exactly.
When I think about lasers and I think about all this technology, I think about all the people that I know that need to find science. Your website leads to many different articles. It is incredibly, I was going to say exhausting. That's not the word.
Well, there is a section.
It's like, when I watch Star Wars movie or Spaceballs from Mel Brooks, and the ship just keeps on going. There is so much I thought I was reading, and it kept. There's so much.
You spend hours. People have told me, I spent the last 2 or 3 hours reading your
And that's
website.
what we all really want. If we're going to get into something, we want to know that there's exhaustive research, and your thing really is very, very inclusive.
10 years of work in there.
Do you do... if someone wanted to become a practitioner of this, you were talking to someone outside, give us what someone might do to find out about a laser. Not everyone can afford, when we said $2,500 package, I have this other guy, I'm sure $60,000, those are what, more powerful lasers? Have different...
Some of them are more powerful, some of them they're just crazy expensive for no particular reason. Yeah. Well, in order to every state in the U.S. has different rules and regulations regarding the use of cold lasers for practitioner use for working on somebody else.
Okay.
When you're working on someone else, you're typically touching somebody else, and the laws are pretty rigid about who can touch somebody else for a therapeutic purpose.
I see.
A massage therapist is a good example. Within most states in the U.S., it's within their scope of practice to be able to utilize a cold laser, as it is, I believe, here in Hawaii. Last time I checked. So nurse practitioners, doctors, chiropractors, they can all use these lasers on people, but somebody who just had a quick little lesson on aesthetics or something isn't usually included in that scope of practice.
But people can use it on themselves, and so you find a lot of people buying them for themselves and their
So there's
family.
a lot of lasers that are only sold to practitioners, and then there's a bunch of other lasers that are available for home consumers, and then this is the hybrid. It's available for both home consumers and practitioners. So a lot of chiropractors and acupuncturists and massage therapists love this laser because it does a lot of things that just the simplistic lasers that you might find on Amazon or whatnot. Compared to this laser has a lot of advanced features that cheapo lasers don't have, including more diodes, more wavelengths, more frequencies. It even has the scalar technology, which you haven't asked me about yet, but let me give you a brief synopsis.
I was figuring you were going to get... I was asking about scalar waves. Please.
So most wavelengths are either sine waves or sawtooth, square wave, or in this case, a scalar wave, which is like a torus. It's most wavelengths are
TORUS, not the
linear in fashion from past to present to future, whereas a scalar wave is said to be always in the present, which is an interesting
coming back
factor.
to itself.
And they say that we replace every cell of our body every 7 years. So if that were true, you have to ask yourself, why are so many people walking around with the same disease and ailments 10 or 20 years later? Well, the researchers figured out it's cell memory. As the cells replicate and divide, they pass on that disease marker information to the next generation of cells, thus perpetuating the dis-ease. So with the scalar technology, it helps clear cell memory, helps flip the polarity of the cell and clean the slate, which gives the body a much better fighting chance at full healing and recuperation. It's a really nice feature, and it also affects the nervous system. It has a very soothing, calming effect. You don't have to understand it or believe it. Trust me, when I first tried a scalar wave laser, I was extremely skeptical. I had another laser, which I had been using for a couple of years, and I really liked it. But when I had the opportunity to try the prototype of the scalar laser about 12 years ago, I hung out with it for a week, and I was like, oh my God. At first, I heard scalar, and I just thought that just sounds so woo-woo. I don't think so. But after a week, I completely convinced myself that there was something really fabulous about this. And now I got rid of the other lasers, and I got scalar lasers, and I've been sharing them with people now for over 12 years.
So these are scalar wave lasers. I see. So that's something that's very powerful, and to hear that you yourself have, gone through a healing thing with it, to me holds a lot more weight. Like, I want to say thank you, God. I have not had a lot of issues in my life, so sometimes it's difficult to find me as the good proof. But people that have had health challenges, that go through these processes, that come up with a real answer and trust because of their own experience, I much appreciate.
Well, most people don't realize this, but almost all sports teams throughout the world, across the board, are now utilizing cold laser therapy in their rehab and programs, because it enhances performance and it supports rapid recovery, both from just exhaustion and from injury.
And it's nothing you're ingesting that's going to get you thrown out because you use something illegal.
It's totally
or something
legal.
Horrible to shift and turn you. Yeah. Wow, that's exciting. So you were earlier talking about different wavelengths to heal different things in different areas. You were talking about red, different colors and different protocols. Run us through some of the more popular ones, because obviously they've chosen 11 as like presets, right? It's like when you buy a music keyboard and they give you some popular sounds. Is that what that is? These are sounds.
Yeah.
Presets?
Yeah. They're Hertz frequencies, which are an audible sound frequency. And like ozone, for example, has the frequency of 14.99. And we have the ability to actually program frequencies, custom frequencies into this laser, as well as the presets.
I see.
And most of the presets are proprietary. The inventors don't really want to share this for fear of maybe somebody copying them. But there's frequencies like 528, which is one of the solfeggio frequencies. That's the frequency of love and grace. So there's so many, there's thousands and thousands of frequencies. I've got a PDF file that I give some customers who are really interested and fascinated about this subject. It's 68 pages of frequencies that researchers have been collecting over decades, including the frequencies that some of the Mexican and German health clinics like to use on their patients for different things. So when someone has, a challenging ailment that they want to work on, they can find the frequency, Lyme disease, for example, or fibromyalgia, or whatnot. These frequencies can be programmed into the laser, and then that's a good way to deliver it to the body. I like delivering frequencies through the laser right in the center of the chest, or on the back of the neck, or into the ears. Interestingly enough, because we have so many acupuncture points in our ears, and the aperture opening with the 36 diodes is just perfect size to cover the ear, and in 8 minutes we can treat all 100 acupuncture points at once in each ear, at the same time sending frequencies to the brain. So there's a lot of different ways that we can utilize this technology. It seems endless, actually. So while you can read my book and you can quickly start working with it, it's also an ongoing learning process, all the different ways that you can continue to use it. Everybody is familiar with dental hygiene. We know we have to take care of our teeth on a daily basis to maintain their health.
Right.
Well, I've coined a new term, laser hygiene. You can use these lasers on a regular basis to maintain health throughout all the different systems of the body. I use the laser on my liver, on my adrenal glands, on my pancreas, and on my digestive system. Women who have premenstrual issues and cramps can benefit from using it in that way as well. So it can become a routine. You wake up in the morning, you use your laser. You go to bed, you use your laser. You sleep great at night. Some people report having the best sleep of their life. As a matter of fact, there's dozens of videos on my website as well that people can watch of lay people and practitioners who talk about their experience with it and how good. There's literally over 100 written testimonials on there as well, people sharing their personal experiences with it.
Yeah, like I say, I really appreciate your website. For someone interested in the subject, or getting a laser or getting treatment, I imagine that it's a matter of pocketbook depth, whether someone gets their own laser or whether they go to a practitioner. But
I've had so many people tell me that it just transformed their lives. That
it's not yet covered by insurance companies, I trust, right? They're a little bit delayed.
Unfortunately, they're really behind the ball.
Understandable. That seems to be, what can we say? Insurance companies like to be a little behind the ball. That's where they make money. It's funny, but true. I'm sorry to say that kind of stuff, but insurance companies are there.
They're there to support the big guys.
They sure are. Do you have any other areas? I know that when you talked about the knees and you talk about a lot of things involving pain and a lot of anti-inflammation, if someone has more sensitive diseases, have you ever seen people use it for more significant, I want to call them like cancer or heart disease? I imagine, I don't know how one would measure that, but I imagine it would strengthen muscles, it would align. This is just me thinking. If I'm putting a light of it on something, I'm aligning the cells, I'm getting everything back to a point where my body is functioning better. And
yeah, obviously there's certain things that we can't say or talk about in relation to
here I am in those areas.
Medical claims. But we can tell you that it supports the body on a cellular level, and it boosts the immune system up to 200% to support the body to heal itself.
That's a bad way of
while
playing.
It may not be the thing that's healing you. You know, most people who have a significant or terminal illness, they're doing a variety of different things. And this can be an incredible addition or adjunct to therapies that someone is already practicing.
So boost the potential potency.
I mean, I have people who tell me that it saved their life. Many people have told me that it made the difference with different terminal things, but we don't make necessary medical claims about this. What we can say, it's FDA cleared for arthritis, for inflammation, for pain relief, for increasing blood circulation, and for relaxing contracted tissues.
That's a lot to say. The
That's
FDA
significant. It is
said
one
that.
of the most diversely FDA cleared products on the market, which has that clearance OTC for humans to use, for people, lay people, to be able to purchase over the counter with no license or prescription needed.
Wow. You know, some of you younger people, you know, it's not quite as amazing as it is to, I want to say, oldsters like me, oldersters like me. We have come in our lifetime to see so many incredible things that we only saw in science fiction movies that are now part of our lives, and this is surely one of them.
It really is, yeah.
Wow. I'm excited that there are things like this available. Are there lots of different people, showing lasers? I haven't seen too much about them that are as available as yours. You have a lot of information.
Quite a few lasers out there. I've actually, in the last 15 years, I've sold over 30 different kinds of lasers.
Wow.
Yeah. So I have a lot of experience with all different kinds. If people have questions and they want to compare one laser with another laser, and they're wondering, well, is this one good? Is this one better? I'm happy to answer questions like that as well. And I can be reached at 808-870-0348.
Right. Well, it's going to be on the... We're going to put the website address at the place where the show is being... sitting up there on the web. I am just always amazed when I have... when I'm thinking about... There are so many things in healing that you can't quantify. This one you can quantify and measure, and it's the most spectacular thing that I know, because it's so physically non-invasive, but yet it's getting right in there. I think of it like microsurgery. In some ways, it can be used that way, right? You can direct this energy deep inside the system without having to break tissue.
Absolutely.
Man, that's big.
No physical penetration. It's completely painless. Super easy to use. My 96-year-old friend who has these lasers and raves about them, he's also really into Rife machines. And he loves the fact that you can just program the frequencies right into the laser and have it on your body and use it as often as you want to.
Not our audience probably knows what a Rife machine is.
A gentleman by the name of Royal Raymond Rife created this back in, I guess it was the 30s or something, where this machine, Mr. Rife, he figured... He was able to determine the frequency that all diseases vibrate at, and then to match that frequency in order to theoretically heal the dis-ease. And for many years, his information was destroyed, but it resurfaced later, and now Rife machines are fairly popular and easy to get.
His granddaughter lived on Maui for a while, and she would talk about it. So yours is an extension of the same kind of an idea.
This has frequency capabilities from 0 to 20,000 hertz. And we can literally program dozens of frequencies if we want to into a single setting. And then on that one setting, we can save up to 24 custom frequency settings in the device for easy use and access whenever we want them.
That's great. So everyone in the family can have their own presets.
Settings, yeah. Exactly.
Wow. What's the most frequently asked question that you have about this stuff? We have a couple of minutes left only. Maybe, only 1 minute. What's the most important thing that you want to leave with our audience? I know people can get in touch with you.
Yeah.
What's the important thing you want them to know?
I think that everybody can benefit from a cold laser, and once you start using it, you'll find that you'll never want to be without one again.
Well, that says a lot. Well, I am so happy to have Kalon here on the show. I hope that everyone will get in touch and take a look at this. This really came to my attention, and I knew it would be something very powerful and important for everyone to know about. I'm looking there at the clock. It's so very funny when I look at our clock here. I'm trying to see, do I have 30 seconds or a minute and 30? I think I have about 30 seconds. So that's how I'm going to judge it. Kalon, thank you for being here with me. Kalon Prensky. Check him out at discoverlasers.com, and you can find him up there at Maui Neutral Zone. Watch this again and again, and take notes, and go visit and call Kalon. Thank you all for joining us. It's been a pleasure to have you here with us. I am going to get out of here right now. Thank you for being with us today. Thank you, Kalon.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. Thank you, guys.